I think in high school was the first time I had considered going into the sciences or into engineering. I always grew up really loving math, and I was in an advanced math group since first grade. And so engineering was a fairly natural progression for me to go into, but it wasn't until I actually arrived at Bethel. I had intended to do an engineering program there together with the University of Minnesota, but I ended up deciding to stay at Bethel and continue in physics and in math. My junior year was actually a particularly hard year for me, just personally. That January, I went on a J-term trip, and it was a history of science in Europe trip. I remember that fall, before we had gone on that trip, I had heavily pondered finding a way to finish school a year early, and then going to work and never going back to school again. And by the end of that January term trip, I recall standing on a street corner in London, talking with a friend of mine and realizing how my passion for learning had been rekindled. One of the other things that came along around the time was Nathan Lindquist. He had showed up in the physics department that year, and I had started learning about his research field of plasmonics. And I remember being really excited about that. And he also had connected me into a research program that was run by NSF. And so I ended up working with one of his colleagues there. And that actually also then led me into graduate school for that same field of work. While my group is working on sensors, the hard drive industry is using the same science to make their next-gen hard drive heads and to, I guess in the long run, enable denser data recording on the magnetic media. And I ended up quite almost randomly with an internship at a company that makes hard drives out in the south part of the Bay in San Jose, and that was at HGST. And had visited the company. I had learned about materials problems that they have with the small metallic structure that I had already done a lot of learning about. And then at the conference, I ended up learning about an alternative material that does similar things, but it doesn't have some of the same, I guess, problems that the normal metal has. And so that was what first, I guess, sparked that interest for me in what I'm doing now. Near the end of my third year in grad school, I ended up finding a way to work on that problem that was so interesting to me. And that happened when I was introduced by a colleague of mine to the Molecular Foundry, which is where we are right now. Molecular Foundry is located at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. It's a U.S. Department of Energy user facility where anyone in the world can come use the spaces in the labs here and collaborate with the researchers here for free, as long as you're planning to publish. And that's exactly what I needed. I was able to use some state-of-the-art equipment and collaborate with some experts, and was able to finish out my PhD here at LBNL. Lambinera is the name of our company, and we are 3 people that are working full-time on it. And we also have a lot of collaborations here at the National Lab and people that have been contributing to our project. What we're working on at Lambinera might be a solution to some of the existing problems in the industry right now that are preventing next-gen technologies from actually making it through development and then making it out into production. I really want to be known as someone who moves forward in business by doing my relationships in a kingdom way, which distinctly looks like power under, I've learned, rather than exercising power over. I don't know how large or small of a business I will end up getting to make, but I'm really excited for what that might look like and what provision God might have along the way to enable me to do that in a more unique way.